Hey folks, how's it going? David here, and just wanted to say up front, shout out to all of the new subscribers who've been joining us here on the YouTube channel recently. We've been growing so much. I think we're getting close to 20,000 subs, which kind of blows my mind. I have no idea how we got here, but I'm so glad people are enjoying the content. And if you're not part of the party already, join us by hitting the subscribe button below. But if you are a subscriber, then you probably know that we've been looking at this tune, Durang's Hornpipe, quite a lot on the channel recently. We did a lesson video about the melody and the chords for this fun 3-part tune. You can check it out in the cards above. And I also did a personal performance of this tune for a Mandolin Mondays video hosted over on the Mandolin Cafe recently. And for that Mandolin Mondays video, I basically just sat down in advance and worked out this solo arrangement where I played through the tune twice with this melodic variation and added material to hopefully keep things interesting. So in this video here, I want to walk you through what I did there. We're going to take this 6-page transcription, walk you through it phrase by phrase, and I'll break down all the tricks and licks that I used here so that you can steal them and add them to your own version of this tune or to another tune in the key of D for that matter. So when you're ready, grab your mandolin, and we'll start off just by listening to me play through this solo arrangement again with the backing tracks this time so you can hear it in context with the harmony. So before we dive in, I highly recommend that you grab your own copy of the PDF transcription to follow along with at your own pace. You can actually grab one for free over on the Mandolin Cafe at the link in the description below here. Or if you're a patron of my Patreon page, I've got it up there as well. So once you've got it, we'll pull it up and check out what's going on here in the A section. We've got all the variations written out so we can really dive into the details together, but there's a lot to digest here. So we'll just start with the first 8 measures, the first A section here, and see what's going on. If you've already seen that other lesson video here on the channel for the melody and chords of this tune, you'll notice that this is really familiar, right? This is the exact same version of the melody for the A section that we have note for note, so we won't spend too much time on the first 8 measures here. But check out what's going on here in the next 8 measures for the second A. So even here at the beginning of this arrangement, we're already getting a little bit frisky with these melodic variations because life is too short to play a fiddle tune melody the same way once, right? And like I mentioned in our previous lesson video for this tune, I took a lot of inspiration from Adam Hurt, who's an amazing clawhammer banjo player who did a great recording of this tune from his record Insight from 2006. And he does a lot of this where he's doing some internal variation from repeat to repeat of the same section, which I think is a fun idea to play around with when you're the featured player. Obviously, you don't want to do this when you're playing melody along with someone else else because it would sound kind of wacky, but if you're the soloist, you can do stuff like this and really have fun with what you do with the melody. So we're making just these really subtle changes to mix things up here. On the first measure of this line, we're changing the last 2 notes from the original melody now to E and D on the open string and the 5th fret of the A string. Then on the second measure, we're changing the 2nd and 3rd eighth notes in our measure to 5 and 4, the D and C sharp on your A string. And then on that third measure here, we're changing the last 4 notes to kind of mirror the pattern that was just played prior in this measure. And I know it can be really frustrating to make these slight changes to a melody that you already know. It's almost harder than learning a new melody altogether, but just take your time, and when you're ready, let's try this 8 measure phrase together. Nice. Well, since we have a ton of ground to cover here, we're going to take this in chunks and review each section as we go along. So let's see if we can play through this first A section, all 16 measures, with the backing track and transcription on screen a bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Moving on to our first B section, let's see if we can check out these 8 measures. So these first 4 measures are pretty similar to the original melody, right? The only difference from our original melody is this last measure where we're walking down the D scale all the way down to the open D at the beginning of the next line. And from here on, we have some slight variations. First up, we're doing this kind of cross-picked D7 idea, which is a little bit challenging because we want to make sure that our E string and D string are both ringing out while we're fretting notes on the A string. So just try to use the very tip of your finger on that A so that you're not muting the other strings by accident. Then the next measure, we're adding in an open G string to add an extra drone effect. And then for the next 2 measures here, we're back to our original melody. Let's give these 8 measures a shot together. All right, well, on the repeat of this B section, for the next 8 measures, we're kind of messing around with some more cross-picking ideas. Check this out. So this first measure, we start off with a cross-picked idea over your open D chord, right? And then we have a similar idea over your open G chord. We're just walking up the A string to create this melody back up to the E string. And then from there, we're kind of back to the original melody. Just watch out for this hammer-on over the open G chord and the extra open G string that we have to really fill this out a bit more. All right, let's try these 8 measures together now. All right, time to try out these whole 16 measures here on the second page of the transcription for our B section. When you're ready, let's give this a shot together. Well, onto the C part now, and these first 8 measures here are exactly the same as the original melody. Check it out. But on the repeat of the C for the next 8 measures here, we're kind of messing around with the timing of this arpeggio idea. So instead of playing a 4-note arpeggio up and down, now we're kind of playing a 3-note arpeggio in almost a banjo roll fashion. Check out this whole 8-measure phrase and see what I mean here. So these first 4 measures are pretty similar to the melody, just with this different arpeggio idea, right? And then at the end here, the last measure of this line, we're playing around with the cross-picking idea. It's almost like we're continuing on this banjo idea, I guess. Then on the bottom line of this page for the transcription, we're kind of back to the melody for a second. But then on the G chord, we change things up a little bit. We're adding in this G sharp on the 6th fret of the D string. Then we're playing the A arpeggio with a chromatic walk down with some new melodic material to kind of ramp up the excitement, going into the whole second form of the tune, back with the A section on the next page. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's come back and try out this 8-measure phrase together. And before moving on from that, let's come back to the top of the C part and try the whole 16-measure page together. All right, so we're halfway there, but as with any solo fiddle tune arrangement or any music arrangement for that matter, I think it's really important to ramp things up in the back half to keep things exciting, to keep the listener engaged. So the second time through the tune is going to be a little bit more involved. Let's check out what's going on here on our return to the A section, starting with this first 8-measure phrase. A lot going on there, right? We're starting off with the original melody here at the beginning, but then we're quickly shifting up an octave with this grace note slide to the 9th fret of the A string and then up to the 5th fret of the E. Then we're carrying on with this cross-picked idea, starting on the 10th fret of your A string, down to the 9th fret. And then we're sliding down with your middle finger from the 7 to the 5 on the A string so that you can kind of get in this chop chord position. And what I wanted to do here was set myself up in this position for another cross-picked idea, because cross-picking has been kind of a main theme of our arrangement so far, and this next line is no exception. So what I'm doing here is playing a double stop on the 5 and 4 of your A and D strings, while using the open E string as a drone. And we're gonna continue that pattern for a little while up the neck. So we're going from 5 and 4 up to 9 and 7. I'm using my ring finger on the 9th fret here. Then we're coming back down to the 7 and 5. And then hopping up here to the 10 and 9. And then after that, we're hopping all the way up to the 12 and 11. And we're doing kind of a different cross-pick pattern, more like that banjo roll, almost like a forward roll where you're dealing in groups of 3 notes like we did earlier. We're walking our way all the way back down to the 4th fret on the D string. Take your time, and when you're ready, let's play this 8-measure phrase together. All right, moving on to the next 8 measures. So what's going on here is that we're kind of messing around with a lower octave variation of the melody. After we play that open D string, we have the opportunity to shift all the way up here to the 11th and 9th frets on your G and D strings to kind of play a double stop version of the melody. And as we shift from one double stop to the next like that, I'm kind of playing a ghost open D string on some upstrokes as an opportunity to lift my hand up from the fretboard and relocate to the next double stop. Then we have this nice chromatic motion with some open G strings that are also operating as those ghost notes to allow you to shift. And then from there, we've kind of run out of real estate to play the exact melody in the lower octave, so I just thought it'd be fun to play around with some arpeggio ideas here that really lay out the harmony well. Working our way up to the high octave again. Okay, let's see if we can give these 8 measures a go as well. All right, your turn now. Let's see if we can get through this entire 4th page, all 16 measures of this return to the A section here. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, when we get to this B section on the second time around, we're gonna be doing even more cross-picking ideas. Check out what's going on here. All right, this is probably the toughest part of the entire arrangement, and we're kicking things off with this cross-picking pattern. Then we're doing an upstroke slide from the 3 to the 7 on the E string. Doing another cross-pick pattern on this double stop. Then we have yet another upstroke slide from the 7 to 10. Playing a D double stop up here. And then we're gonna work our way back down using a bunch more upstroke slides. So we're doing from 10 to 7, from 7 to 5, and then we're doing from 4 to 2 on the A string, that extra melodic material to get us to the next line. Then we have this descending idea with a C natural, and then coming back to some cross-picking idea for this G double stop, working our way up chromatically, which sounds kind of weird until you resolve to the 4 and 7 for your A arpeggio. Then from there, it gets even trickier because we work our way down to the low A on the last measure, where we have a flurry of actually picked triplets, right? So we're gonna use our pick for every one of these notes. We're gonna alternate as well because we're dealing in even pairs of triplets. So by the time we get to the next measure, our pick strokes will have evened out and we're gonna start with a downstroke on the 3rd line. I know that's a lot, but hopefully it's starting to make a little bit of sense, and it's gonna make even more sense as you just hack away at it and try it a few times. So let's play this together and see what happens. All right, next 8 measures of the B section. Check this out. into some double stops here. After the hammer on at the beginning, we're playing this G double stop from the 2 and 3 up to the 5 and 3 of the A and E strings. Then we're playing a quick open D string and a big slide all the way up to the 12 and 10 for this D major double stop. And then again, we're using some open strings for ghost opportunities to shift back down. Open E, open E. And then here we have this kind of weird fiddle technique where we're playing double stops a fret beneath where we should actually be playing them, right? So here we have an E flat and an A flat, but then we're shifting up to the E and A to resolve to this 5 chord. We're doing that twice. Make sure to alternate your pick strokes before doing it 3 times on your D double stop on the D and A strings on the same frets. We're also doing the same thing with our G double stop, going from G flat on the 4th fret, B flat on the 1st fret, up to G and B on the 5 and 2. Then we just got some other melodic ideas to get us to the end of this section. All right, let's try this out together. All right, it's time to try out all 16 measures of this B section here, and good luck to us all. Last page of our transcription here. We're back at the C part. Let's see what's going on here for the first 8 measures of the C. Not too bad, right? I thought this would be a fun point in the arrangement, just to pause, play some fewer notes, and take a breath before ramping up at the very end. So we're playing some similar ideas to the original melody, but we're actually taking a few notes out and kind of messing around with where the melody falls. Check out the first 4 measures here. And similar ideas for the next 4 measures. Chromatic idea, and then shifting up to the 9th and the 7th frets of your A string here to get ready to play this melody in a higher octave of the neck. All right, let's try out these 8 measures together. All right, so we'll stay in this higher position for the next 8 measures. Check this out. So we're pretty much just playing the original melody up an octave in closed position. It just takes a while to figure out those fingerings, but watch out at the end of this 3rd line, we're doing a slide from the ring finger on the 9th fret up to the 12th fret on the A string so that we can play kind of a version of the melody for the turnaround. We're also doing a different embellishment at the end there. I call it a rake, where you're raking your pick through 2 sets of strings followed by another downstroke. Kind of a fun technique to mess with. All right, read through that a few times, get the fingerings all figured out, and let's try these 8 measures together when you're ready. All All right, time to give the whole 16 measures of this last C part a try together. Let's pull up that backing track and see what happens. And hey, we're not even done yet. We still have this 4-measure fiddle tune tag at the end to check out. Goes something like this. Classic sound. So you just have a little upstroke hammer on across the bar line at the beginning here. And then we have another slide from the 2 to the 4 on the D string, but otherwise it's pretty straightforward. So let's try this together. Go. Oh my goodness, if you made it this far in this crazy detailed video and you actually want to try the whole arrangement from start to finish, I'm super impressed, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. We'll see if we can play through the whole 6-page transcription from start to finish, A, B, C, and the fiddle tune tag, and go something like this. that is a marathon, right? And of course, the goal isn't just to play through this every time from start to finish. Hopefully you can see kind of the working parts of what's going on here, the different licks and the tricks that I was using to flesh things out, and you can take these and apply them to your own arrangements or your own improvisations. So see what you can do with all this material. But I hope the journey through all this was somewhat enjoyable. In fact, if you liked this video, if you learned something from it and you want to see more detailed breakdowns of advanced material here on the channel, then let me know in the comments below. And you can check out some of the other videos that you see here on screen for some similar material. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. We got to get to 20,000 subs sometime soon. And just shout out to all you patrons over on the Patreon page. I really appreciate you guys. You're amazing. And I really appreciate the support. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video sometime soon.